See, guys, so I find myself alone once again in my life. And the thing is that things are changing in my life. I understand I'm getting much more information now. And you have to understand the differences between me now and the past. And you have to understand that I'm much more better in terms of quality. I make much more quality audios now. I make much more quality in terms of information. And you have to understand that I'm always speaking about the same thing in a different way. And that's how I actually grow. You understand? Because you have to always speak about things so that you can understand how to explain yourself, so you can do better for yourself every single day, and so that you're really learning. So, for example, I understand that there are things in my life where I have to do better. I understand that. But it's much more about how I need to always express myself every single day so that I live my life to the best degree that I can. So, the best thing for me to do now is to just understand something that I have to do my quotes. I have to do my quotes, and I also have to do an audio program so I can live my life spiritually and so I can do my better job, so I can do a better job for myself. So it's much more how every single day now I'm understanding that it's much more about how I feel. And how I feel right now is I'm feeling okay, I'm feeling good, for example. So I'm understanding it's much more about understanding that, for example, with my mum, I mean, you have to understand my mum. She doesn't like to be taught anything. She doesn't like ideas. I mean, you understand? And that's the thing. I mean, you always have to understand, always be open minded to ideas. Because my mum is not open minded to the point that she needs to be. Do you understand? So I try not to teach her anything. And I just try for her to teach me and then nothing else. And that's how you can be with other people as well. When other people are too ignorant about what you say, you understand? I promise you, when they're not willing to change, just don't teach them anything. Do you understand? Just make sure that they are teaching you something, and that way you just be a student while you listen and while you grow. You understand? But the thing is that you have to be a great listener in life if you want to succeed. So the thing is that in my information now, I'm understanding that there's always something to say and there's always something to do, and I have to always provide that information to people so that I can do better for myself. So, for example, now I'm understanding that it's much more how I have much more information to give all the time, but I think that every single day is always going to be a new day. And every single day, you must understand that when you think, you always document things down as much as possible so you can grow, so you can live, so you can love, and so you can live your life to the best degree. But I understand, for example, women are not chasing me at the moment. But you have to understand that I can provide this information to people, and that's all I can do. I mean, I can provide my attitude. I promise you, nobody's Daddy Milivojevic. So, for example, if people don't choose to be in my life, then I'm okay with that. I mean, you understand? The thing is that I accept it and I move on. I mean, you understand? But the thing is that I used to call a lot of people. I used to call them. I used to always chase them. I used to chase people. I used to try to hang out with people. Do you understand? And now that's a waste of time for me. Do you understand? I mean, hanging around with other people is a waste of time for me. You understand? The thing is that I don't need to be social with other people. I need to be social with myself. And that's how I learn. I mean, that's how I grow. And I understand that it's not out there somewhere. I promise you, it's inside. I mean, live inside every single day and you'll find the answers within you. You understand? And the thing is that I have friends, for example, John Wiseman, I have David Tarpe, and I have also Goran Makadonats. I mean, I have these people in my life, for example, and I can hang out with them. The thing is that they drag me down. And they drag me down to the point where it's not worth socializing with them. I mean, it's not worth it for me. And why is that? Because they're not people who create content. They don't create a lot of content in the world, and they have something to teach me always. I mean, they always have something to teach me. The thing is that they're not something that I would always hang around with. You understand? I mean, they're not people that I would always hang around with. And why is that? Because you must understand that there are people out there and much more quality people in terms of life where they provide a lot of information. And that's where I go. I go where the information is. I go and study something where people can teach me something about life. And now I'm understanding that these people can always teach me something about life. But the thing is that it's not worth my time to hang around with them as much as possible, because the thing is that I have better things to do, and I understand that I don't want to waste my time. You know, saying the thing is that it's much more how I understand something now. It's not about hanging around with other people anymore. It's always about hanging around with myself and being okay with myself and being good with myself, spreading as much information as possible every single day, doing my work every single day so I can do my passions and nothing else. And now I'm understanding that what I recently learned is that I can sit on my laptop and watch somebody produce music, and that's my passion as well. Just watching other people make music, for example, is my passion. And what I can do is, while my dad's watching soccer on the television, I can pull up my laptop, I can get myself a pillow, and I can make sure that I can watch people create music because that's my passion. You understand? So the thing is that now I'm understanding that things are changing all the time, and you have to understand to keep up with the times. I mean, you understand, keep up with your times. I mean, make sure they understand every single day. Make sure you go on the news channels, you see exactly what's going on around the world, so that you update yourself every single day. Update yourself with what's going on around the world, and in terms of business and economics and stuff like that with your mentors and everything like that. So you have to understand every single day that it's much more. You have to point people in a direction of information. But the thing is that it's going to be very, very, let's say, straightforward for you to learn everything that I've taught, for example. But the thing is that each and every single audio program or video program or quote that I make is all different. You understand? That's the thing about life. I mean, you always have to create different content with different things that you say. And the more you can do that for yourself, the more you can understand how to publish, and you can publish yourself into the best kind of ways forward. But you have to understand that all my books are always bestsellers, and you must understand that I don't need other people to tell me that my books are bestsellers. I mean, you understand, my book's always a bestseller because it's all information. I mean, you understand, and you have to understand how people get bestseller books, and you have to understand it's really, really like they rip themselves off in terms of they don't rip themselves off, but it's like once they upload a book, a certain amount of people have to buy the book in a certain time frame to be a bestseller. I mean, you understand? But the thing is that some people can always draw crowds to them. And do you understand? I mean, that's the thing about these people. I mean, they lead people. Do you understand? That's the thing. You have to be a best version if you want to be confident. But my asset is my ability, and my ability is to do better. I mean, in a sense, so my attitude is always growing in terms of words, and I'm always explaining my attitude as much as I can on the camera, as much as I can. And I'm actually always understanding that there's always things to learn inside of myself. So I can always dig in for that information that you need in terms of spirituality every single day and learn how to teach that. So, for example, I've been a life coach for 5 years now, and I've been doing life coaching maybe every single day for 3 years. I mean, you're saying I had a 2 year break with life coaching, but all my life I've been a life coach. You know, saying all my life I've been a life coach, but I've just been documenting for 5 years now. And what have I been documenting? I've been documenting information, and now I'm like a psychologist. I'm like a nutritionist. I'm also a dietitian. I'm also a life coach. I'm also a business planning strategy coach. I'm also someone who's a financial coach. I can teach you a lot about finances. And now you have to understand something about finances. It's where you invest your money. Do you understand? The thing is, it's not something that you have to understand, but you have to understand something that when you speak, make sure you understand something. That it's what you never do in terms of finance. You understand? So, for example, if you want to have better finances, stay away from Bitcoin, stay away from stock market, stay away from most foods out there, stay away from most people out there, stay away from gambling, stay away from, for example, anything that you don't need, for example. I mean, that's all financial knowledge, you understand? So I'm much more able to teach you financial knowledge every single day, and all that I've taught in my life is everything that, for example, that helps, do you understand? Because what helps is information. And now if you go through my information, you always find a way. You always find something different, and you always find something different life skill that I've taught, for example. So I've actually caught up to myself in terms of information now. I'm actually much more mature now. And why am I much more mature? Because I've taught so much. I've taught so much in life. And you have to understand that everything I've taught is nothing. Approach it's nothing compared to the next 10 years. I mean, the next 10 years of my life is going to be much more content every single day, producing information every single day, looking at more images, looking at much more of a happy life, traveling much more, understanding to be with family, for example, being on my own, eating the best foods on the planet every single day, learning to be in my life every single day in a different way. Approaching that's what makes me happy. And what makes me happy is expressing myself. And I cannot express enough how important it is to develop yourself in terms of all areas of life. And I can do anything, but the thing is, you have to understand that you always have to understand every single day to put emphasis on your words every single day. And the way to do that is always find an expression of words that you can give to other people. I mean, you have to understand that everything that I speak in words is exuberating out of me from love that I have for myself. Do you understand? So everything that I've talked about in my life has been because I started. And because I started to teach, I understand exactly how I can maneuver my way through life because I can see exactly what to do while I'm journaling, for example. And what I've learned the most is how to have a better attitude through the way that I speak. I mean, in a sense, so for example, I'm much more professional now than I ever was in my public speaking and in also inside of my ways of life. So, for example, I'm able to much more be able to be open with what I say, and I'm actually also someone who has a rich attitude, and because I have a rich attitude toward life, I'm not harming anyone else. I mean, in a sense, and the thing is that I'm not trying to harm myself as well to some degree. I mean, in a sense, so every single day I'm understanding I'm not going backwards to some degree, but I'm also not moving forwards to some degree. Do you understand? I mean, there are habits here in my life that have to change, and I have to understand that the previous 5 years of my life is going to look like the next 5 years. So what's happening in my previous 5 years of my life is I was traveling, I was a non-smoker, and also I was someone traveling Australia, for example. And you have to understand that the experiences I've learned along the way has been life changing. I mean, you have to understand how amazing it is to travel alone. And you have to understand that sometimes it does get lonely alone, but you have to understand to be with yourself. And you have to understand that traveling sometimes alone can be lonely. I mean, it can be lonely on the road. I mean, not talking to other people and stuff like that. But the thing is that it's not that anymore. Approach what it is really a mindset, and you have to understand that your mindset has to be solely on regarding on yourself every single day to understand that you don't need to talk. I mean, that you don't need to talk to other people to live life. I mean, in a sense, you don't need other people in your life. What you need is yourself the most. I mean, in a sense, so your best friend is always going to be with you, and that's you. I mean, in a sense, so you have to understand that when you teach other people something, you can always go for your conversation with yourself every single day. You can always communicate with yourself every single day to do better. And you have to understand the differences between me and other people. And the differences is, I understand, is my information. And now I have more information to give than other people. And that's why I have much more of a joy in my life. And why do I have much more joy is because I express myself much more than other people. I make sure that the universe can listen to me much more. I mean, yes, and because I have a career, I have a legacy, I have a job every single day, I have passions, I have dreams, I have purpose. And my dream every single day is just to be the better version of myself every single day. And I'm doing that to some extent. I understand my dream is actually working right now. And you have to understand that all you're really doing in life is working on yourself. I mean, you're doing nothing else in life except working on yourself every single day. And that's the definition of a dream come true. Do you understand? So, for example, if you're not a millionaire today and if you don't have something in life, you have to understand that you have to believe that you have it already. I mean, you have to believe that you have something already in life. And you have to understand that it's not about being a millionaire. I promise you, what it's about is learning and growing. I mean, you understand? And the more you grow and learn throughout life, the more you'll learn something. So, in the next 10 years of my life, I promise you, this is what my life looks like. I promise you plenty of reading. I promise you plenty of audio production and video production and stuff like that. I promise you plenty of public speaking, much more. I promise you more detail. I promise you there's more detail, more imagination, and much more words to speak, and much more words to transcribe, and much more uploading, for example, onto YouTube and stuff like that. And also much more social media engagement with myself every single day and learning to be my best friend in the process. I mean, yes, and that's how I'm understanding that I'm also going to be traveling for the next 10 years as much more. I'm going to be understanding to travel as much as I can for myself. I'm going to go places on my own, and I'm going to do without cigarettes and do without caffeine, for example. So I understand that it's much more how I'm planning my life. And also fatherhood. I mean, fatherhood is something that I can achieve for myself if a woman wants me to be a father, for example. But I'm going to leave that to the universe. I mean, yes, I mean, if the universe says, hey, Danny, you're ready for a kid now, and and the universe provides me my twin flame or something like that, I promise you, I'm understanding I'm ready for my twin flame. I mean, it's much more how my attitude toward people is a great thing. I mean, you understand? It's much more how I produce content because I understand that my attitude can teach people, and I can teach people my attitude about life. And you have to understand that's the thing that I'm teaching all the time in every single audio program or video program that I make. I'm always teaching something regarding my attitude. You understand? Because that's how you grow. You grow through a better attitude all the time. And now I'm understanding that many people don't create content. I mean, they don't look outside of themselves for help. And you have to understand that you never look outside of yourself for help. You look inside. I mean, make sure you understand that there's nothing out there for you. I mean, there's nothing outside of yourself that can make you fulfilled. I promise you, it's only inside that can fulfill you. I mean, there's anything that's inside of yourself right now is the answer. I mean, yeah. I mean, you have to understand you have all the answers within you every single day, but many people are not producing content as much as possible. I mean, they're not somebody that is confident in themselves. So, for example, I'm less likely to kill myself today because I have much more information to give. I mean, I have much more to give throughout life. So, people who kill themselves have nothing left to give. You understand? And you have to understand that people who are committing suicide today are people who have nothing left to give. But people who are killing themselves with cigarettes and drugs while giving more into the planet, I promise you what's going to happen is they're going to have a better life in the process. And you have to understand that eventually they're going to overcome their demons because they're giving so much of information into the world. So if you understand that if you find yourself giving much more information in the world, you'll always be able to live your talk eventually. I mean, you're saying you always be able to overcome your fears. I mean, you have to understand that fear is an illusion, and there's no such thing as fear in life. I mean, just people don't want to experience some kind of emotion. I mean, they fear some kind of emotion that's going to kill them or something. I mean, they're too exaggeration. I mean, they're exaggerating something like death for themselves if they quit cigarettes or if they quit drugs, for example, that they're going to feel like the worst ever. I mean, you understand? I mean, you have to understand that if you abstain from drugs every single day, you're always going to feel better and better and better as time progresses. But time goes slowly and time goes really quickly. But if I want to finish my life in any way, I want to finish it with words. I want to make sure that I express myself as much as possible in life so that I can be fulfilled and so that I can fulfill my life in some degree. I mean, in a sense, so that's what people are missing out on. I mean, people don't see the words that they can speak. They don't understand the information they can provide. And they have to unlock themselves. They have to unlock themselves to do this. And the ability to start now is the ability to finish it off in a great way. I mean, in a sense, so for example, you must understand that Jim Rohn, for example, I mean, that guy has a great attitude. And you have to understand that he has $1 million attitude. I mean, yes, I mean, he was a millionaire and he became a millionaire at 31. And that's already next year for me. I mean, next year I'm turning 31. I'm turning 30 in this year. In about 12 days' time, I'm making sure that I'm turning 30. But the thing is that I'm going into my 30s really, really with wisdom now and really, really with backbone. I mean, I have backbone in my wisdom and I have something of a really sharp mind. I have a really sharp mind to the degree that I can see my thoughts and I can think alone and I can do things alone for myself and I can go outside of the house that I live in, for example. You must understand that my house is inside myself, but I don't go outside of myself reaching for pleasure as much as anymore in terms of as much as before. I mean, what I do now is I live inside of my body, but the thing is that my dad's house, for example, you have to understand that I'm able to go and travel alone. I'm able to go and live life alone now because I broke my barriers. I broke something and I experienced a new way of life for myself where I went traveling around Australia for 1 year and 8 months. I mean, do you understand? I mean, do you understand how much that is in terms of how long that time of travel is? And that was the best traveling experience of my life. And you must understand that why that is because every single day when I was traveling, I was always doing words. I was always developing myself in terms of words. And now, what do I mean by that? I mean, I was always developing my attitude. I mean, yes, I was always developing my attitude. And now, while I was traveling Australia, I was trying to reach for sex here and there with women and stuff like that. I was trying to get some woman to have sex with, and I went to a prostitute. I had some sex over there in Hobart. And you must understand that it's much more how I went to Melbourne. I had sex with a prostitute again, and they're not prostitutes; they're escorts, and it's the same thing. The thing is that I had sex in Melbourne over there. I gave $70, and I had sex for 20 minutes, and also I went to Hobart. I gave like $150 for about 1 hour sex, and you must understand that the thing is that that didn't satisfy me, but it gave me an experience, and now that experience is happiness for me. I mean, you're saying it's like it's an experience. I mean, you're saying, I mean, you have to understand that I'm not a virgin. I lost my virginity at 18 years of age and I had sex for the first time without a condom, for example. But I had problems with my penis. And now, why did I have problems with my penis? Because during my age, in terms of my teenage age, I wasn't showering as much. And now the foreskin on my penis was not pulling down. So when I had sex at 18 years of age, what happened was I had a blister. I had a massive blister on my penis. and I didn't know what it was. I thought it was maybe AIDS. I thought it was maybe HIV or something like that. Because what happens is if when your penis doesn't pull back, and you're always sick. I mean, you're always having sex. You're having sex, and your penis is rubbing off like that while it's not pulling down. It causes a massive blister. I mean, in a sense, so my penis was unable to pull back all the way. And what I had to do is I went to hospital on that night. I went to hospital, and what I done was I had to have an operation on my penis, and I am circumcised now. So, for example, they cut off the foreskin. I mean, in a sense, so the foreskin was unable to, my penis foreskin was unable to pull back all the way. So they cut off the foreskin. I mean, in a sense, so now I live I'm uncircumcised. I mean, in a sense, so there's no foreskin on my dick. I mean, in a sense, so that's the thing. So there's no foreskin on my penis now, and I feel better. I mean, my penis is much more sensitive. And what does that mean? I mean, it means that if I have sex with a woman, I have much more like premature ejaculation kind of thing. You understand? But the thing is that the longer I have sex, I may I may premature ejaculation. I may ejaculate very quickly for the first, let's say, 10 minutes. But then if I keep having sex, what happens is I can last longer. I can last longer each and every single time I ejaculate. So, for example, if I ejaculate 3 times, I promise you the fourth time it's going to take me 1 hour to ejaculate. I mean, in a sense, so the thing is that I don't go prostitutes anymore. I don't go stripper bars. I don't go to women for anything. You understand? And you have to understand that they don't satisfy me. But what satisfies me about women or anybody is the image of people. So you must understand the imagination of their imagination satisfies me. You understand? Because the imagination will always satisfy you. I mean, in a sense, so the more you speak words, the more of an imagination you have. You understand? And that's the thing about life where people are missing out. And people are missing out on the newest application today. And the newest application today is to speak much more words. So your application is what you make, and it's up to you to really, really deliver on that for yourself. So, for example, when I look outside the box, I'm always looking inside of myself, but I'm always looking outside the box to give you ideas so that you can better your life. And that's the thing. I promise you, if my mum sat in this audio program to teach, in terms of to learn something from this audio program, or my dad as well, or anybody, I promise you, you'd learn something. I promise you, I'm definitely sure that you've learned something about my attitude in this audio program, and that you've learned something along the way in terms of something that I've said in this audio program. I mean, yes. And so when I speak just like Tony Robbins. I'm just like a life coach, just like anybody else, but I have my own associate degree. I have my own type of way of explaining things, and I have my own attitude, and I have my own legacy, and I have my own type of words that I can give in terms of my vocabulary and my dictionary and my way of life. I mean, in a sense, so I have my own perspective. I have my own opinion about life. And that's something that you listen to. I mean, you have to understand everybody has an opinion, and people who express their opinion much more are much more confident. I mean, in a sense, so they're confident in themselves to understand exactly their direction. So, for example, I understand that I have to document things down, otherwise I go crazy. I mean, if I don't document my thoughts down, and if I don't do information work, like for example on anything, then I don't better myself like this. I mean, you have to understand that the only way I can better myself is to do information every single day, do as much information as possible. And what do I mean by that? I mean to break down everything in terms of everything that you are. You have to understand that you are like a microchip. I mean, you have to understand, and your chip has to do better. And you have to understand to always process that information in your chip, to update it every single day, to update the hard drive that you have. And you have to do that by reading every single day. You have to read as much as possible so that you can also study something in terms of life, so that you can teach something about life. I mean, you're saying, because that's how it is. So everything that I learn in terms of books goes out through my words. You understand? And because I learn through the words that I speak, I'm understanding all I'm searching for is more ideas. And the more ideas I get, the more I can do. I mean, you understand? So I do with my ideas. I mean, you understand? So, for example, each and every single time, for example, I went and done a busking performance recently. And do you know how proud of myself I am? I mean, you must understand, I'm so grateful about my ability today. I'm so grateful about being able to stand up in front of that crowd and be able to speak for 1 hour without losing myself in the process. I mean, you're saying, I mean, the thing is that what I mean is, I'm able to speak for 1 hour. I'm able to speak as much as possible in front of people and without, let's say, anything but service. I mean, I have service to give every single day, and people don't believe in my work. I mean, they don't believe in my information. And you have to understand something. You don't believe anything but more. I mean, believe more information. I mean, make sure every single day that you're studying more information in your life, because that's the only key to living a life. So if you really want to challenge yourself with people, you have to understand to challenge yourself first. And you have to understand that if you always think a bit outside the box, you always find something to say. So for example, when I go outside the box, I always go somewhere in my mind, somewhere where I actually talk in terms of everything that I see. I put it into words. I mean, you understand? And that's how 1,000 words describes a picture, for example. You understand? So every single day, you have to always lead people in words, because words lead everything. I mean, everything is spoken into words. I mean, in a sense, so everything that you see is spoken because of God, and you have to understand everything is much more spoken because the word of God is what it is. I mean, in a sense, so you must understand that everything that you are not is what you are, and everything that you are is because you are not. I mean, in a sense, so everything that you are is also what you are, and you have to understand everything in terms of what you are not is because you are not. I mean, in a sense, so the thing is that life is all ways. I mean, in a sense, life is every single way possible. So if you want to succeed, you have to understand every single day what you need about life and how to actually go and move forward, and Google everything that you need in terms of information every single day. You can get free information from the library. You can understand I mean, there's no excuses for why you cannot read. You have to understand that the library is full of books out there. You have to dig in every single day, speed read as much as possible, and learn to understand that every single day that you pick up much more information around life, the more you can have wisdom for yourself, and the more you can direct people in terms of wisdom and yourself to success. I mean, and that's the whole point. So, for example, now, since I'm doing a lot of work and information work for myself, I'm always developing myself, and that's the main thing. And the main thing is I always live my life to the best degree that I can, so that I can always treasure myself. I have to treasure myself. I have to do something outside the box all the time, so that I can live my life to the best degree possible. And that's the whole point of explaining things for yourself, so that you're living life to the fullest. I see, guys, and that's why I express myself as much as possible, because I see something in words. I see how much greatness I can have in terms of words. And now you must understand that greatness comes out of the words you speak. You understand? And the reason people are not, let's say, making me anything in life, in terms of they're not making me great, I mean, they're not making me anything that I want to be, for example, you must understand that it's not about anything about them. I mean, it's more about you and what is right for you and what is wrong for you. And it's more how nothing is wrong or right. I mean, the thing is that people cannot make you great, but you can make yourself great. I mean, and you have to start today. I mean, you have to start doing something today to succeed. And the best way that I succeed is I produce much more words, I produce much more music, I produce something, and out of that comes greatness. I mean, out of that comes something. So the more you explain yourself through life, and the more you explain yourself through life, the more you'll learn about different areas of life, and the more you'll learn how to treasure your own nature, and you'll also understand how to always think outside the box for yourself to do better for yourself and to live the best life possible. I mean, in a sense, so there's nothing better than that. So every single day, you must understand that the reason that people are not in your life at the moment is because there's something better for you. You understand? So if you want to live alone, you have to understand it's either speak words in those times where you feel bored. Do you understand? I mean, you have to understand when you feel bored, make sure you speak more words, or you do more imagination work, or you transcribe your quotes, or make sure that you upload information online, but keep yourself busy and make sure that you're reading something along the way while you're bored. You understand? So the thing is that if boredom comes along in your life, make sure that you fulfill that boredom with more words. So write in your journal, write in your documents, do something different that you've never done, so that you can help yourself in that manner. I mean, in a sense, so life is not to be lived bored. I mean, make sure that you always have your passions to. I mean, then do something. Watch other people. I mean, watch other people while you're bored. I mean, watch a production set in terms of somebody making music. If you're passionate about music, make sure you watch other people making music while you're bored, or write notes down while you're learning something. I mean, keep occupied every single day. Keep occupied and make sure that your passions are always coming true in your life. So I'm living the dream, guys. You must understand. I'm living the dream in terms of information. And now that's the truth. I mean, the truth is that my information is living the dream. I mean, say I'm living the dream in terms of life. I have more than enough in my life every single day to live day by day. So what I look at, for example, I have $2,000 in my bank account, for example, and you must understand that today I have $2,000. I mean, you understand? Every single day I have $2,000 in my bank account, and that's more than enough for me to live today. I mean, just for today. So for the next 24 hours, I mean, $2,000 is more than enough for me to live on. Yeah. So you must understand that every single day, make sure that you always have $2,000 in your bank account so you can live just for the next 24 hours. I mean, that's all that you have to do. You understand? But even have more than that in your bank account. Make sure that you understand that you have to have insurance money for yourself in case something goes missing or anything like that, in terms of understanding that if something goes missing in your life, then it's the words. I mean, in a sense, so make sure you understand that words, you have to understand how to speak it. I mean, in a sense, so make sure you understand that words are something that change people's lives. I mean, words are something that changes people's lives. And words are something that changes people's lives because you have to understand that the more you speak words, the more you can understand yourself and where you're going throughout life. I mean, in a sense, so you have to understand that nobody's doing this work for me, but I don't want other people to do it for me because I can do it myself. I mean, and that's the kind of attitude I have to have toward music production and toward everything in life. I mean, I have to understand that I understand that it's much more about me doing it myself than it is other people doing it for me. I mean, in a sense, so what I can do is I can watch other people doing it, and then I can find some more information about it to make sure that I can motivate myself to do whatever I need to do, which is going to help me move forward. But the thing is that it doesn't last forever. I mean, nothing lasts forever. I mean, but the thing is that eternal life is forever. I mean, so the thing is that you have to be learning as you grow. And now, marketing skills. I want to teach you something about marketing. Just market yourself as much as possible. I mean, so make sure you understand that in your day, you have a certain amount of hours, you have a certain amount of time, and you have to understand that you have to market yourself in the best kind of way. So make sure you understand that when I market myself, for example, I go on YouTube and I go on Instagram, and that's the only way I market myself, for example. I don't market my Facebook, for example, because I have no need for Facebook in terms of marketing. Do you understand? And you have to understand that Facebook these days, I don't even use it much. I mean, I don't even use it for talking to other people. I mean, I use WhatsApp. I use WhatsApp for talking with my mum. I use Instagram just to upload my fashion photos and to upload in my story inside of my Instagram. And I upload to YouTube as much as possible. And now, why do I market myself this way? Because it's the most time effective thing that I can do for myself. And the rest of my days, and in terms of everything in between the lines from that point, is I'm uploading content and I'm just doing my life. I'm producing much more words. I'm helping myself to do that for myself every single day. And do you know why? Because I see a passion. I see something much more in that. I see how much my words can expand and how much my words can affect people in terms of affect people in a better way. You understand? So the thing is that if you want to damage the universe in a better way, then give more words. Yes, and give as much words as possible into the planet, and you always have much more passions, and you always have a much more better dream, and you always have much more of what you need, because everything that's planned in your life is through words. So if you speak much more words, you actually see exactly how you're doing in life, and you'll see exactly where you're going. So for example, my mom does not do this, and she's losing in that kind of favor. And you have to understand that she's not confident in herself to do that, and she just says that she hates to do that. Do you understand? And you have to understand that she hates talking words. I mean, you understand? My mom hates talking words to people. You understand? But she doesn't understand that, and she'll say that she didn't say that. I mean, the thing is that it's not about that. I promise you, it's much more that you understand that she doesn't want to speak more words, and that's where she's losing. You understand? You have to understand that if you speak more words, you speak much more words into the planet in all type of ways. So make sure you utilize social media as much as possible so you can get your message across. I mean, saying nothing else. I promise you, that's all you have to be doing every single day is get your message across to other people. And every single day, you have to understand that your information can help other people grow. And that's the whole point of life. So, for example, the best conversations in my life I had is with myself. And you have to understand that there's no other better conversation with other people that I've ever had other than with myself. You understand? Because everything that I've ever done in my life has been with myself. Do you understand? And you have to understand that if I include other people with that, I promise you it's much more that I include you in that. Because everybody around me doesn't want to learn from me. Yeah, I mean, you have to understand that around me right now, I have many people in my life. For example, I have poker people, I have my dad, and I have people just surround me, like on the street and stuff like that, going to the shops. I mean, they're doing their things, they're driving their cars. I mean, they have no time to learn from me. But the thing is that you guys who are listening to this audio program have time. I mean, you have time to learn and listen every single day of your life. I mean, you have to understand that if you don't keep yourself open-minded in life, and if you're not always curious about life, and if you're not curious about information and what I've given and what other people have given in terms of information, then you'll never have that information in your life. I mean, so make sure you always expand yourself in your information every single day as much as possible so that you can better your attitude toward your life. So wherever I've been failing the most in my life, I promise you, the most I've been failing in my life is in my habits. I mean, the habits that I have today and nothing else. I promise you, that's the only point of recommendation where you have to always better yourself is your habits. You have to better your habits every single day. You have to understand that if you don't better yourself in terms of your habits, then nothing's going to change. You understand? So the thing is that now, since I can utilize social media as much as possible now, I'm understanding that I'm not using TikTok as much because I have things to do. I have other things that's more important than TikTok right now. And you have to understand that I always have time to do things. I always make sure that I have time to do things. And now when I go to my mum's house, for example, there's going to be less time to do my passions. But what I'm going to do, that I'm going to always fit in my passions somehow with her and my life over there as I travel along. I'm going to be writing my journal. I'm going to be making quotes. I'm going to be making audio programs much more and doing things around the scenes of transcribing my quotes and stuff like that. So I can fit in my passions always in terms of everything I do. But there's going to be much more less time to do things in terms of my passions because my passion is also my mum. And now you have to understand that's my passion now as well, which is my family. I mean, I realize my family is my passion. I mean, understand? So talking to my family is my passion. I mean, understand? Being creative with my family every single day, doing the most I can for the world every single day. I'm understanding that while people are sleeping now, I promise you it's 8:30. I promise you maybe people are not sleeping at the moment. I mean, some people are sleeping and some people are not sleeping. And you have to understand, I'm doing my work. I mean, I'm doing my work at all hours of the day. I'm always doing my work. And what's my work? I realize my work is writing more material, doing more words. I mean, spreading much more information. I mean, you understand? And that's my work every single day. And that's what makes me happy. I mean, you understand? And if I don't express myself, then I don't know where I'm going in life. I mean, you understand? I promise you, if I don't teach people much more about my life, then I have no purpose. I mean, the thing is that I have to teach people about my life. I have to teach people much more to have a purpose in life. And that's things that people miss out on in this life. And they don't have as much happiness as me here. I mean, they're saying I have so much happiness being able to express my thoughts and being able to show you the best way. I mean, so all I'm really teaching you is my attitude. I mean, I have a great attitude. I mean, you have to understand that if I have you in my real life over here, and if you're sitting with me over here, I'd have this conversation with you. But most people are unwilling to have this conversation with me. I mean, you understand? Because they believe they know it all already. I mean, they believe that they're so already something so big in life without a social media. I mean, you have to understand that people act so big and they act so much more like wise. I mean, they act so wise in front of you that they have no social media to teach you upon life in terms of words. I mean, understand, so there are people out there who are so ignorant about life, and you have to understand to never be ignorant about anything, but make sure you be forthcoming into the words that are coming into your life, and be open-minded about everything. So, for example, with my mum, you have to understand that she's not as open-minded as she must be, and she doesn't understand that. And if I told her this, she'll be like, "Don't get smart with me." I mean, you understand, and you never say that to your kids. You have to understand that your kids have to get smart. I mean, so being a parent and telling your kids don't get smart with me is stupid. I mean, it's so stupid to say. I mean, why would you say to your kids, don't get smart with me? I mean, wouldn't you want your kids to be smart? Do you understand? I mean, wouldn't you want your kids to be smart? And that's the thing. My mum doesn't want me to be smart. I mean, it's in that kind of definition. And you have to understand that she will say that, oh, but I didn't say that. I didn't say that. No, no, no. But you meant that in your heart. Do you understand? You meant it in your heart because of the words you said already. You understand? So if I said to you, don't get smart with me, then I'd want you not to be smart with me. I mean, I'd want you to be stupid with me. I mean, you understand? The thing is that I want everybody to be smart. So I never told my kids don't get smart with me. I encourage people to be smart and to be as smart as possible, so that they can be a smart Alex, so they can teach me things. Do you understand? So I'm always open minded like that. But my mum's not like that. My dad's not like that. I realize my family's not like that. You understand? And now you have to understand that my grandfather, in terms of my grandfather, may be like that. and you have to understand that he's more of a person who listens to you, and everybody listens to you. And like all my family listens, but they don't do what they say they're gonna do. You understand? As much as possible. You understand? I mean, they're lacking to some degree. But what I've learned from my parents and my family is much more in terms of what to do and what not to do. You understand? And that's what I've learned in terms of everything that I've read in terms of my life. I've learned much more about what not to do in life and what to do in life. Do you understand? But what not to do in life is what you do. I mean, sense. So I go by when I read, I'm always reading for what not to do in my life. I'm always reading because that's where my wisdom comes from. You understand? So when I understand something about life in terms of anything that I do, I understand that I'm not blind. I'm always living in my feelings as much as possible. And you have to understand that there's always a way forward. Do you understand? So when you actually talk it out for yourself every single day, and when you're actually doing content for yourself every single day, you're always going to be learning something in the process of bettering your attitude, because that's what life is about. Life is about bettering your attitude every single day and learning to be someone in life. I mean, yes, and you have to be someone in life to succeed. And you have to understand that many people are losing in this area of life. I mean, they don't have what they deserve. I mean, yes, and you have to understand that people have what they have because they deserve it, but some people, you have to understand that they're lacking so much ability. I mean, you have to understand that they're unaware about the words they speak. See, so you guys have to understand that every single year, also, I'm going to travel somewhere every single year. So no matter what, so for next year, I understand next year, I'm understanding that I may be in Uruguay with my mum. I'm not sure exactly what's going to happen because things change all the time. So the thing is that my plan with my mum is to go to Uruguay at the end of the year in 2022. So in around December 2022, I'm going to go with my mum to Uruguay, and it depends on what she wants. And now if she doesn't want to go, I promise you that next year I'm going to go see my mum again and see what happens. So it's much more understanding that every single year I want to travel somewhere. I want to travel somewhere every single year. And I want to go to new places every single day. I mean, yes, and so you have to understand that it's much more about having the energy to do so. So if you have no energy to go somewhere, then you have to understand that you have to stick into your feelings and you have to be inside of yourself and just live where you are and stay here in the moment and be present. You understand? That's what you need to do. So make sure you understand that information can go everywhere. I mean, information spreads like wildfire. I mean, yes, and so so make sure every single day that if you go out there somewhere, make sure you go with the information. I mean, go somewhere, go with the information, because the information is something that's found inside of you and not out there somewhere. Yes, and so the wisdom that you give to other people is your wisdom and it's your life, and it's something that is much more about you being able to grow yourself with. I mean, yes, and so many people are not doing what I do today, and they're losing. I mean, you have to understand that they're losing. I'm pretty sure they're winning in terms of having kids. I'm pretty sure they're winning in terms of that only. I'm pretty sure nothing else. I'm pretty sure they're not winning in terms of anything in terms of life other than health and words. Health and kids. So I'm understanding that other people have better health than me. I'm understanding that other people have, let's say, more kids than me, and that's it. I promise you nothing else. Health and kids, and they have more money than me. I mean, they're saying nothing else. But the thing is that I understand something, that I have everything I ever need. I mean, whether I'm my worst version or my best version, I can still speak words, and that makes me happy. You know, and so the thing is that the more I speak words, the happier I am. I mean, yes, and because I get to explain myself, I get to show myself, I get to show who I am, I get to give you my attitude, I get to give you information based on my life, and that's my passion. I mean, yes, and so that's what I find very interesting every single day, is that I can express myself every single day, and I can be heard. Like I can be working right now and understand someone's listening to this audio program online somewhere. I mean, yes, and so that's the whole point of life. I mean, you have to understand that other people are not in it for you; they're in it for themselves. I mean, yes, and so you have to understand every single day, be uploading as much information online as possible every single day, and also be able to also produce as much information as possible so that people can hear you. I mean, so that you can actually be someone in someone's life, and so that you can spread some good information to people every single day, so you can live your life the best way that you can ever have in terms of life. I mean, you're saying, and that you can live your best life in terms of everything that you can be. I mean, so you have to be all you can be every single day, like Jim Rohn and John C. Maxwell say. I mean, they say be the best you can be every single day. John C. Maxwell and John, in terms of Jim Rohn, say that you have to be your best version all the time. I mean, so every single day, make sure that you always conquering yourself, making sure that you're doing something worthy for yourself every single day. I mean, you're saying, because that's what's important. I mean, it's important every single day to live the dream. I mean, live your dream every single day. Live in a way that's always in accordance to something that's helping you grow. Because that's all you have to do every single day is always love yourself more than enough, because that's how you actually grow. I mean, you're saying the only way you can do that is to spread information as much as possible. You know what I'm saying? Because that's love. I mean, that's all you're giving. I mean, you're saying all that you give in life is love. So everything that I'm saying in this audio program is for one reason, to just help you learn something. And it's saying to just help you become much more aware. And that's it. I promise you, if you just read much more information, you're always going to become much more aware in the process. So if you don't read, guys, then you're going to understand that you're going to be slow in terms of life, and you're going to be much more less effective if you don't read. So make sure you're always reading every single day. I'm not saying that the best thing I ever done was pick up books. I understand, because that's my attitude now. I promise you, every single day I'm reading books. Every single day I'm much more alone. I'm much more able to coexist with myself. I'm much more less likely to kill myself now, because I have all this information to give. You know what I'm saying? So there's always something to say and there's always something to do. But that's how you actually succeed. And you succeed through different ways all the time. In a sense, so every single day, make sure that you guys are always loving yourselves and making sure that you're always speaking your mind out every single day, because that's how you actually always do things. I mean, you do things for yourself every single day, and that's how you actually live life. So anyway, guys, I hope that you guys have enjoyed this audio program. I hope that I've taught you something about life. And make sure that you just keep making sure every single day that you're always recapping everything in your audio programs and your videos, and making sure that you're teaching as much as possible, because that's the true way of life.